How is it going, everyone? It is Wednesday, February 14, 2024. It is Valentine's Day, and this is the video for today. So we're going to go over the market first. We're going to go over the pick from the previous video, and then we are going to give a pick for this video. And I'll give a couple of picks that I am liking today. So on a longer term basis, yesterday we had a big gap down on CPI, but we're still pretty bullish on the market overall. There has been some buying here today. We had a gap up and we poked through the gap here, almost had a gap fill, not quite, and then we had a pretty nice reaction from here, a little bit of selling, and then a move up. So on a longer term time frame, this is the pullback that we're waiting for. And I want to see here us close above the high. It says the high is 497. That's actually not quite right on this data. The high is actually here, right around 496. So a close above 496 would prompt me to take some longs. Now, that is the first leg of the pullback. We're also watching the price action here. We know that some of the gains have been digested. The market also may have poked a little bit too low. Right, we had a pretty big drop. Buyers are still ready to scoop up. So if we are able to stack some gains here, I would also feel more confident in taking some swing longs, as we are still making steady progress, and it shows that buyers are still engaged. And I'd wait to see what the price action is like on the move up. But a lot of drops have been contained to one day, or a little bit of selling over a few days that is tiny, and then we had a strong reaction up. So that is what I am still expecting. So longer term, we're still bullish. Shorter term, we were waiting for this pullback, and it happened. So now we just need to confirm strength of the pullback. So let's see what signs of strength that we had yesterday. So the first small fluke here is we had a pretty strong reaction on the day close from this low here. From 491, we rallied up pretty decently to 494. So first sign here, nothing I would trade off of, but that's an interesting note of strength with end of day buying. Institutions like that price and they wanted to get in on it. The second thing is we had this gap up. We tried to poke into this gap. We failed here, and we're seeing some back and forth on each side. The fact that we're able to hold the gains of the gap is a big tell. We know that the selling is going to be offset by the buying, and there's going to be a bit of equilibrium as the players sort of cancel each other out. Once the supply is worked off and demand gets a little bit higher, the bids will start to get raised and raised and raised, and then we will get that lift off. So that is what we're watching for today and tomorrow. I suspected that we would take a couple of days to work off some of this move, but it seems like market is still pretty aggressive, and we are still still pretty aggressive. We didn't have an immediately strong, super bullish day, but we did not have another day of selling. We didn't linger by this low of the day over here. We're actually holding the gains above the prior day high. So I started off a little bit bearish earlier in the day. I've been trying out some day trade shorts. The tricky thing is on the day trade shorts is knowing when to get out. So I took 2 small losses on my day trade shorts. Happens. I want to learn that system eventually. So that is, something I'm trying out. I'm not really counting it as part of my main strategy. I'm counting it as part of a new system because I do want to have that ability to make money on the short side when the market isn't really giving me anything on the long side. Now, what I am counting are some longs that I'm taking. So we see that SPY over here gapped up. We had a strong move down, a bit of a reaction. This moved down here, and then we started to get some buying. So here I thought, okay, on this move down, it still looks pretty bearish, but we know the momentum isn't very strong, so I didn't suspect we'd get anything through this gap because we don't have strong momentum into it, right? There's still some buying pressure here, here, here. So that's what I'm watching for. I saw here us rejecting VWAP, and this was the big clue of the day. We had this move here, and I tried out my SPY system on an LRSI cross. And I took an L right over here because we moved back above. Now we have a higher low and a higher high relatively, and we have this nice bullish uptrend. So you can see that we have some powerful moves down, but an equally powerful move up. I believe buyers have a slight advantage here. They have some reinforcements from the gap, and sellers are going to start to get a little bit more passive. They try to knock it down here, didn't work. Try to knock it down again, didn't work. Try to knock it down here, didn't work. So they are going to get a little bit scared. So it looks like the longer we continue above here, I believe that we're going to close above this prior day high. So I'm looking for some swing longs now. There's a couple that caught my eye. And the one that I'm in that I took earlier is APO. I really like APO. So first, let's look at this D1 chart. You can see the obvious strength here. Strong move, and then it's slowly grinding up. Doesn't get too far extended from its SMA. Just had earnings. Now, if we look at the 15-minute chart of APO, we get a really nice clue of the relative strength more recently. So yesterday, SPY had a big drop, and it made a new low of the day. APO rallied up super hard on heavy volume. It did drop with the market, but was able to preserve most of its gains as a flagpole. And then today we were able to surge higher, break through this high from earnings, and slowly grinding up today on a day where the market was completely flat. The volume is pretty good. So this is a really nice stock for a short-term swing, in my opinion. I'm targeting a full ATR move, and I am trying out a one contract call. So I tried the March 15th call over here. So you see there's not a lot of liquidity. I got in at around 870, and I am targeting a full $2.80 move, so around 115 on the stock somewhere here. So we may have some day of pausing, right, and then we grind up higher. I don't expect it to be super fast. It may take 2, 3, 4 days, but this is an excellent breakout, excellent grinder. I can lean on this 8 EMA as support because it's acted as support for this whole move. Yeah, if I do that, that'll be a nice 25% win on that stock. All right, so APO is one I really like. Crowd is also one I liked. Similar sort of theme here. We had a gap down, and we had a really strong reaction from that gap down. You can see how it held all the gains while the market was tanking. Today, it also held the gains while the market was tanking and started to drift up higher and higher. It's a little bit choppy, so I would wait for a pullback in this stock. But when you get that pullback, you have a very nice entry point in the position. Now, the nice thing about Crowd is that it's such a strong stock, right? It's at a nice, clean 45-degree grind, super strong D1 trend. We have a confirmation of this channel above the 8 EMA and some room to the top end of this channel, which tomorrow would probably be around 346. So that would be my target on Crowd. 346 is about a little more than an ATR move, and I'd lean on the bottom end of this channel over here, which would come in at around 314, 315. So pretty good risk reward. I think fairly high probability trade. In terms of things you can do, a CDS works pretty well. I'm just going to do a one share trade, but Crowd is quite excellent, and that's probably one that I will also take. A couple of ones that also were catching my eye here. Netflix, really nice bull flag. We had this post earnings breakout, compressed, tested the low, and we popped back up really high today above this high plus trend line. Netflix is very nice. Also has pretty deep pullback, so wait for these LRSI crosses and enter on those. The thing is, there is some resistance at this high here around 580, as well as this high plus trend line coming into play, so I would keep it more short term. Excuse me. I keep it more short term. Some people are taking a CDS in the chat. I think that works really well. But I also may look at a one share swing on that overnight. All right. Another one that I liked quite a bit here was Lily. Lily had a strong move in the open, but had to digest some of the gains. Oh, there's right, breaking above its trend line. It had to digest some of the gains here. Lily is a pretty choppy stock, so I'd make sure to enter on these pullbacks. Yeah, you can see here on M15 chart, it'll pull back, go up higher, move up, pull back. So this was a pretty decent retracement. It looks like we're holding most of the gains here. I'd say about half the gains of this move. So what I'd want to see is the profit taking on Lily cease, and then we start to move up higher past VWAP. So right now, it looks like we're holding over here. The market has been a little bit strong, but not super strong. So there's still some supply that has to be worked off. I have some alerts set on Lily, so if it's able to get above its VWAP for today, I would be interested in taking that stock. But I really like this breakout over here. Another one that caught my eye was Confluent. Confluent post-earnings breakout, tested the gap here, and it has been grinding up higher. You can see here how there was a gap down from CPI. Stock made all of these gains, erased that gap very quickly, and then it held all the gains. Today, market was down, started going up, and it has been moving up in a market that has been pretty flat for most of the day. If you look at the net action from open to current price. So Confluence is also a very nice pick. Still a little bit soon from earnings, but it looks like the ADMA is caught up. It has digested some of the gains, and this is a really nice long-term breakout in the stock. I mean, this is a super, super long-term breakout. So Confluence is very nice in my opinion. I'm going to draw, there looks like there could be some resistance at this level right here. So that's the major resistance I see. Looks like there may also be some resistance at this level. So let's draw. Oh yeah, look at that. So here is this resistance over here. Confluence actually broke through that today. You can see the fighting at this level, came back and tested the resistance and is moving higher. So Confluence is really very, very nice. And that might be one that I also take over here. So those are pretty nice. So Confluence, APO, and Crowd are my picks. So I'm going to give you 3 picks for this video. And we will see how they all do in the next video. So let me add them to my watch list. And then we will go over. We're going to go over the pick from the last video, which was MU. All right, so you can see the relative weakness of MU over here. It's actually holding up pretty well. The problem is, how much faith do you have in this trade, right? How much faith do you have in this? I mentioned yesterday that if you wanted to take a short, you still could. It's still holding up really well as a short. The market has been going flat. It's broken through the gap and it's going down. There's still a pretty nice opportunity to take profits on this. If the market is wavering, I think for another day or two, market is flat, I want MU to go down. So that would have to be our bias. If you expect the market to go up, then MU is going to have a much tougher time getting over there. So what I would want to see from MU if I'm short this position, and when did the video come out? So I'd said wait for a pullback. So let's say you bought it close to the high of the day here, 851. So let's say you got it at 81.50, right? You waited for this pullback here, 81.50. You didn't chase the low of the day. That's what I would have done because I saw this market move up. Get it here, goes up, test the SMA, confirms that selling pressure, breaks a new low of the day. I'd want to see it come back and see if it can test this low of the day right here. So I'd put an alert, or actually put a good to cancel alert right here. That's a little better. So I'd want to see It tried to challenge this move down on any sort of market pause or market weakness. And then depending on the market context, I would determine if I still have the ability to really get to that 0.5 ATR move, right? I might not be able to. So it still looks good on a daily chart, still pretty good today, but the market is just, on a longer term trend, a little bit too strong. So that's why you want to be careful on really taking a short overnight. You don't know how much staying power you have, and it's really easy to get trapped. Ally was another one that we had. Ally's still holding its own. We had a pop-up yesterday, lower high, tested this level again. And so far it has been grinding up higher, decent volume. Ally still technically valid. It is annoying. It is definitely annoying, but it is technically valid. So I would still stick in it. We're still holding this level here at 35. So I would still stick in it and see if I can get a higher probability loss on this thing, but it is pretty weak. So I'm not expecting that I would be able to take the win on the stock. So that is it for today. The picks are APO, Crowd, and CFLT. Let's see how they do tomorrow.